This is a December to remember. And you see this couple coming down and looking at their tree, and then the husband leads the wife outside, and there in their driveway is a beautiful silver Lexus with a beautiful red bow on it. And so it's a December to remember because she gets this Lexus. If I got one, it would be a December to remember too. We can think about this being a December to remember. The Eagles have won now 2 weeks in a row. The weather has certainly been extraordinary, being so warm for this time of the year. But it's also a December to remember because our Holy Father, Pope Francis, gave us a great gift. He gave us a gift of a holy year of mercy, a holy year that began on December the 8th. A holy year, it's like a retreat. And he asks us during this year of retreat to reflect on one particular thing, and that is God's mercy. That each of us have received God's mercy, and we in turn are to share God's mercy with others. When I think about that myself, I know that I have received God's mercy in so many different ways, and hopefully I have shared God's mercy with others. But we're all a little bit hard-pressed if we were to try to define mercy. What is it? What really is mercy? It seems to me what's helpful is to look at it from another point of view, and that is, what's the Latin word for mercy? The Latin word is misericordia. And so if we think about that word, it has two Latin words in it. Miserere, which we know, have pity, have mercy. And there's a little word in there, cor, C-O-R, which is the Latin word for heart. And so it seems to me when we're talking about mercy, what we're really trying to get at are what are the miseries of our heart? What are those things that burden us? And all of us carry miseries of the heart. At times there's sickness, our own or sickness of those we love. At times it's addictions that maybe we struggle with. At times maybe it's loneliness that we struggle with. At times maybe it's the limitations that come with aging. At times maybe it's a chronic ailment that we have, diabetes, arthritis. At times maybe it's our internal struggles in our own family, where family members no longer talk to each other, cannot be in the same room with each other. Maybe it's at times the struggles with a teenage son or daughter that's just going a different path than we want them to go. Maybe it's having our children now grown, children that we put through Catholic grade school and high school, maybe even college, and now they no longer go to church. They no longer bring their children to church. Maybe their children aren't even baptized. And so we all have those miseries of the heart that we struggle with. This holy year, is really an opportunity for us to open up those miseries of the heart that God might share with us his love, that God might share with us the knowledge that we don't bear those miseries alone, that he is with us in our struggles, that we are never alone, that he always accompanies us. He walks with us, and he challenges us to walk with each other, to strengthen one another, to help one another in our struggles. The topic for today is Our Lady of Guadalupe. And really, if we think about this wonderful apparition, and downstairs in the lower chapel, there's a beautiful picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe that's worth stopping to look at on your way out this morning. But the apparition goes back to 1591. It goes back to an indigenous people who are struggling, people who have afflictions of the heart. You don't have to go downstairs, it's right here. The afflictions of the heart. That is, that the Spanish have come in to their native land in Mexico. They're trying to impose a new language, a new culture, a new way of life. People are struggling, and our Blessed Lady comes from heaven and appears to a simple man, Juan Diego, a man in his early 60s, a man with very little education, but a man of deep faith. And our Blessed Mother speaks these words to Juan Diego. She says, "I am truly your merciful mother, yours and all the people who live united in this land, and all the other people of different ancestries who trust in me." Those words that resonate in our heart, those words of Mary to Juan Diego, "I am truly your merciful mother." When we deal with those afflictions, those miseries of our heart, how easy it is for us to turn to Mary. And as we see Mary appear to Juan, not as someone different from him, but appeared in a costume, clothing that he would have recognized as someone that he would know. And she appears with that sash that says that she is with child, that she is pregnant, that there's something new breaking into his life, breaking into his world. And what is it that she asks of Juan Diego? She says, "Would you go to the bishop and say to the bishop, I would like a church built on this spot?" Like most bishops, when Juan Diego appears and says, "Mary wants you to build a church," the bishop says, "Yeah, right. Who's going to pay for it?" And then the bishop says, "Well, if this is real, I want a sign, something that's going to prove that this is real." And so Juan Diego goes back and he's kind of dejected, and he sees Mary a second time. And the bishop had said, "If you can bring me a dozen roses, I'll know that this is real, because it's the winter and roses don't grow in the winter." And as Juan Diego was going back, Mary appeared that second time, and Mary had another conversation with Juan. Juan said that the bishop won't build the church, he wants a sign. And she pointed to where the roses were. And Juan gathered up the roses, put them under his cloak, and took them back to the bishop. And when he opened his cloak, the flowers, the roses fell, but there on his cloak was this beautiful image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, an image that people have venerated ever since 1591, an image that is carried from Mexico all across Latin America, South America, and here to our own country, to North America. Mary asked for a church to be built. Why? These are her words. She says, "Here in the church, I will hear the weeping of my people. I will hear their complaints. I will heal all their sorrows, hardships, and sufferings." That is, Our Lady of Mercy sees the church as a place where the people of God can gather together with all of the miseries of their heart to pour out those miseries to God through her intercession, that God, who is mercy itself, the mercy that she carries within her, Jesus, that God's mercy will be ours. And so during this holy year, it's so important for us to gather here in this church dedicated to Our Lady, that here we can pour out the miseries of our heart, that Mary will take those miseries and present them to her Son, and that he will shower his mercy upon us. But knowing also well that we who receive that mercy, we who receive God's forgiveness, we who receive God's constant help and support, are to share that mercy, that forgiveness, that compassion, that love with others. Mary appeared to Juan, someone who was on the margins of his society. Juan encourages us always to be mindful of those who may be left out, those who are on the margins, those who have no one to speak for them, that we can be their voices, that we can bring their miseries of the heart to our loving God, that he might see and hear and answer all of their needs as we today pour out our needs to our loving God through Mary's intercession.